Crane Mountain Valley Horse Rescue sits in a valley and is dedicated to saving and rehabilitating horses. Even with their small staff, they do it all, one horse at a time.
In 2013, when we took 41 horses from one property from a hoarding situation, all in just horrible condition, living skeletons, as the law enforcement called them. So that was the largest seizure that we've done, and that was local. We've done a couple more smaller ones of that size. We've also, not just from the abuse or neglect standpoint, but sadly we had a domestic violence situation in 2014 where a husband shot his wife and then himself, and that left 7 horses rendered homeless. And so law enforcement called us in and asked us to retrieve those. But of course, as with many domestic violence situations, sadly those horses were the victims of that as well.
The spacious farm usually houses 16 to 20 horses. They said that they will not take in more animals than they can shelter.
What we do is we rehabilitate them physically and emotionally. Each horse needs something slightly different. And then once we rehabilitate them, we work to find forever homes for them. And we are accredited by the ASPCA in New York City as a humane organization, and essentially we operate like a small animal shelter does, where people who want to adopt a horse fill out an adoption application. They go through a whole process of us vetting the applications. They come and meet the horse for us to make sure it's the right fit, because we're looking for the right home for the horses, not a quick home.
The signed agreement says that they will abide by the Crane Mountain Valley Horse Rescue rules covering care and feeding. There is an increase in the public's knowledge of animal abuse, and they want something done about it, and that's just what they've been doing here for the last decade and a half. Chantel Gilliland trains abused animals. She often works inside the Sally Morehouse Memorial Training Center. It's a huge fabric structure that protects the animal and the trainer from cold, wet weather.
I'll do veterinary care. I also work with training the horses to rehab them so they're prepared for adoptive homes in the future. I work with volunteers. I work with developmentally disabled adults who will come and do some day-hab work here. And I also work with youth volunteers as well.
She said that the horses see you as you are. You can't lie to them, and they can't lie to you. It's always an honest conversation. She uses body language to communicate with the 1,500-pound animal. Rehabilitating an abused animal is a difficult but gratifying job when finished.
7 days a week. You know, it's always, you're always fixing something, building something, always repairing fences, always putting new fences up. I mean, it's just nonstop. People don't realize, you know, especially when you go to 18, 20 horses, the uptake, the care, just in maintenance, taking care of the fields, taking care of just about everything from electrician, carpenter, to field management. You know, so it's really time consuming.
He wears a mask during the day throughout the year that many people, it looks like a fly mask, but it's an ultraviolet protection to protect him from getting skin cancer on the eye. He had, when he came in, he had poor farrier care, is the best way I'm going to describe it at this point, where his feet had been improperly trimmed to actually right down to taking pretty much the soles off of his feet. And he was so tenderfoot when he came in that he could barely stand up, and he also had a fractured coffin bone as a result of the improper hoof care.
He is fitted with special, expensive shoes every 6 months, allowing him to proudly walk like a horse should. The majority of funding comes from individuals. They get no federal money, Van Wee said. Veterinarian and food bills chew up the biggest part of their budget.
Our annual budget is about just a little under $100,000 a year, just about $100,000 a year. Mm-hmm.
A lot of money.
It is. It is.
And you have to go out after every dollar?
We do. We do fundraising campaigns. We publish a twice annual newsletter, and that's one of our primary sources of funding. We also have, we welcome visitors to come to the farm and visit the farm and see what we're doing. We do apply for grants, We meet with lots of individuals and folks. We go out and do a number of speaking presentations.
A trip to the Westport farm to see rehabilitation in action is worthwhile to anyone.
You see a horse that comes in, and it could be from any kind of situation, and you put your time, and the energy into it, and then, you adopt them out to a person who, loves the horse. It's that result right there. That's the reward.
For Mountain Lake Journal, I'm Jack LeDuc in Westport.